President George H.W. Bush died yesterday, November 30th, 2018. He was 94 years old, and and you have to admit that is pretty impressive for a president or for anyone to live that long. I mean, after all, we saw Stan Lee pass away back on November 12th at the age of 95, and both of which are saddening. But still, I hope that they lived very good lives at that point. But still, again, it's pretty saddening what has happened, because George H.W. Bush has been going through has gone through a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, say what you want about the man, whether you like him or hate him. I understand why you would be in either position, but still, you have to see him through his own personal life. When he was 18, he served in the United States Navy during World War II, and he had a very, very high record when it came to being a fighter pilot. He was a fighter pilot. And he took down a few Japanese airplanes, which you have to admit that for a president, that is actually pretty badass. Then once he came back when the war ended, he went into the oil industry. He tried to run for Senate, but he didn't do very good and was defeated. But he managed to get into the House of Representatives, became a UN representative, part of the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, vice president, and finally president. Now, I'm not gonna lie. There are a few bad things that he did, which I greatly disapprove of, and I honestly hate. Which would be the obvious 1988 pledge about don't do high taxes, and of course him voting for Hillary Clinton instead of Donald Trump in the 2016 election. But nonetheless, I think it's very important that we should respect this man. I mean, he during his one-term presidency, and I think he's so far one of only I think it's 4 presidents that have only one term. During his one-term presidency, he's managed to accomplish a lot in both foreign policy and domestic. I mean, like I said before, his domestic policy was controversial to say the least, but in terms of foreign policy, he continued the destruction of the Soviet Union. He ended the Warsaw Pact completely, while that was something that happened under Reagan. And when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, he immediately called on every nation to go in and liberate Kuwait, which he managed to do so with great success. I mean, during the war, the first Persian Gulf War, there were about I'm gonna be making an estimated guess, around 10,000 Iraqi soldier deaths against 250 U.S. American deaths, and that's not counting the coalition partners and wounded and that sort of thing. Either way, you have to admit that's pretty impressive. Again, you don't have to like the guy. I understand why you don't like him, but I mean, for a man who was nearly a century old, who just very recently saw his own wife pass away just a few months ago, you have to place yourself in his shoes. I mean, he has such a long life, and you just, and I don't know what, honestly, I don't know what he would be thinking right now, except to be with his own wife. For those who didn't already know, he was suffering from a form of Parkinson's disease. And I don't recall what the exact form it was, but it caused him to become I don't know what the best word is, but I'm gonna use senile in this case. But he made a very bunch of weird decisions. I mean, I don't really know the specifics of that sort of thing. I prefer to keep people's privacy to themselves unless they want to release such private information. But from what I could tell, it kind of reminds me a lot of my grandfather, who had hereditary frontal lobe dementia. He, from 2008 to 2010, he suffered greatly. He suffered greatly from that. At first, he was making irrational decisions. Then he couldn't really walk. He didn't, or well, he could walk, but he was just so confused all the time. I remember just 20 days before he died on October 15th of 2010, that on my birthday, September 25th, he didn't know we haven't started to eat the cake yet, and he immediately grabbed a piece of the cake with his own hands. And I have to say that was pretty funny, but I'm getting off topic here. That's how it kind of reminds, how his situation kind of reminds me. For just this one man who lived almost a century. He's been in World War II. He's been a major player in politics, and for good or ill, has left a pretty big impact on this country's history and legacy. In all honesty, I kind of hope that one day we have some kind of some men like him. Those who have been through a lot through just their own one life and accomplished so much in that one life. Again, whether you like him or not, for good or ill, this man, former President George H.W. Bush, made a big impact on America's history. My name is Nomi on the Arc of Truth. Please post your comments down below, subscribe, like this video, and share it with your friends. Bye.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain.